From the backwoods of Virginia, this is Daniel Markham with the danielbmarkham.locals.com channel. Today we're going to do the Nerd Roundup, and I've rounded up, well, two friends to help me round up the other nerds. So you might ask, what is Nerd Roundup? Nerd Roundup is just a weekly thing where I look at the stuff on the web that other nerds are talking about and just kind of shoot the shit over, is it interesting or not? What does it mean? It's not serious. This is breezy, gossipy. If you're looking for innards of Erlang, you're in the wrong spot. Today I have my good friends Bob Martin, James Grenning. Guys, welcome. Welcome to Nerd Roundup.
I do there.
Howdy, partner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, this is like going to camp again. There's just nothing's going to happen. Okay, nothing with the dam is going to happen.
You're there already.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so guys, I get this list of stuff I was interested in. The first one's this new nuclear engine concept. Does that look like cool or what, huh?
I thought it was cool. Right, I think it's cool. So, it's a nuclear engine. Okay, what's not to love about a nuclear engine? I will say, however, that for 70 years we have known how to build an effective nuclear engine that would be a lot more effective than that one, right? This is Freeman Dyson and those guys figuring out they're going to throw atomic bombs out the back and blow them up.
I was waiting for the punchline. Yeah, we'll just toss bombs at the back.
I read that book. And so they just basically blow the atomic bombs up behind the craft. They just have to make a craft that doesn't get destroyed by the H-bombs, right?
Yeah, it's got a really big shield on the back and a little tiny hole, and they literally pop kiloton devices out the back and blow them up. And the ship can carry tens of thousands of them. It has a massive amount of thrust and a specific impulse that'll carry it all the way out to Jupiter and back, and you can land with half your fuel still on board. It's an idea that was called Orion. It was workable in the 1950s. We're still trying to figure out these fancy-dancy ideas here. We're going to do this nuclear engine. It'll give us twice the impulse of a chemical engine. Those guys had it worked out to 1,000 times the impulse of a chemical engine. They thought they were going to go to Jupiter. They were going to take 40 people with them.
Well, the problem with the Orion, first, the takeoff is you don't want to be near the takeoff. That's going to be kind of bad.
Yeah, we did that in Antarctica.
And when you start when your project starts with the pitch of, okay, guys, first we built 10,000 nuclear bombs. It's kind of hard to sell it after that. It's a difficult sell.
Well, it does double as a weapon system as well, then too.
Yeah, damn cool.
Yeah, yeah. It brings its guns with it.
We forgot to detonate it in time. I wonder where it's going to land. Weird. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it definitely has some downsides to it. It can certainly be weaponized. But any space travel can be weaponized because all space travel is about high energy, right? So it doesn't matter. If you're on the moon, you can just throw rocks at the Earth and have, massive detonations. The moon is a harsh mistress, by the way.
Well, the thing is that the faster than light travel, if you have faster than light travel, you've actually created this sort of almost past antimatter kind of bomb. It's incredible, but kinetic energy you're carrying along.
Well, yeah, nearly infinite. If you can get to the speed of light with any mass, you have infinite kinetic energy.
So this looks like a sort of a nuclear fission idea where they're like doing fission inside the bell there, and then there's a follow-up which I thought was even cooler, and this is the saltwater version of the same thing. So for folks following along at home, there's this big discussion over fourth generation nuclear power plants, and I love the thorium saltwater guys, and this is that idea applied to rockets, right?
Yeah, real nice idea, and similar to the Orion idea, because all the explosion actually takes place once it leaves the rocket bell. So in this case, though, it's a continuous explosion. And again, the thrust is enormous and the specific impulse is really long. So that's the kind of engine, if you could build it, that you could easily go to Jupiter with and then just land back in your backyard. And you don't have to do any of this funny orbital nonsense where you're trying to schlep your way along the minimum energy orbit. You want to go to Mars, you just get at Mars and you go.
Fucking A, man! Road trip! I wonder now if Elon Musk actually builds this Starship thing he's got, right? If he can put 100 tons in orbit for like a couple $1,000,000, why don't we build some sort of ship that can actually tour the solar system instead of this one shot at a time deal where we do stuff? Why don't we build a real enterprise, Bob? Huh?
Yeah, damn right. Well, that's what those Orion guys thought they were going to do. That was the original purpose of the ARPA. They built the building in Southern California for these guys to build the Orion.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't to build the Enterprise; it was to build the Orion.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna blast our way into the solar system.
Well, we're going to use nukes to build canals, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was Teller, right? Teller was just going to use hydrogen bombs for civil engineering. Okay.
With Orion, Bob, were they going to launch it from the ground with nukes?
They thought that they might use a few chemical weapons to get it. Weapons, wrong word. To get it a few kilometers in the air, and then they do airburst nukes. These little nukes, they're 1 kiloton devices. They're small, right? So, and we have detonated megatons in the atmosphere. So, a couple of Orion ships popping up 20 or 30 kilotons by the time they're in orbit. It's a little fallout, some strontium-90. Not too bad.
Don't look at the sky.
1960s thinking.
Well, yeah, 1950s. These guys, they thought they were going. They had the trip all planned. They were going to go to Mars and Jupiter and Saturn. 2-year trip, 40 people.
And really, a rocket's just a fuel air bomb anyway. You just bring your air and fuel along with you, right? It's all bombs all the way down.
It's just a big can with a lot of energy on it.
Okay, so the next one I hope is more technical than blowing up things. Oh yeah, this is actually kind of a blowing up thing too. This is I don't know if you guys have followed this or not. That GitHub pulled YouTube DL last week. That was a big deal. Do you guys know what that is, or
no.
Did you see it?
Okay, I read that.
Okay, so YouTube DL is a Linux command that's like a Swiss Army knife for videos. And the idea is you point it to a web page, it finds whatever's going on with the video and downloads the video to you, changes the codec, it does whatever you want to do. And it's a wonderful tool for a ton of people, reporters, policemen, people like me who have bad internet. And so it's been updated, it's open source, used by the community, and record folks said, no, sorry, you can't have this anymore, guys. You might get records or audio downloaded that you shouldn't. And so here we are.
And
so GitHub took it down, and immediately 4,000 other nerds uploaded it all over the place. But the thing is, the power here is the fact that GitHub is a location for all of these interested people to come and code. And by taking it down, you can't get rid of the code, but instead you've got it scattered all over the place.
And where did they upload it to?
I don't know.
Where did the geeks upload it to?
Well, to GitHub, yeah, to GitHub, yeah.
To GitHub's digital rights manager.
Woohoo!
They stuck it on as a commit to the digital rights manager software.
I missed that one.
Very creative people out there.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So
yeah.
This reminds me of the Anarchist's Cookbook, right? Which is a great book, by the way, to get your kids. I got it for Micah, my son, years and years ago, because it gives you the directions for making nitroglycerin in your kitchen. And it's a fun chapter to read. That particular chapter is hysterical because it describes the process in great detail, and then gives you the warning.
Yeah.
That this stuff. If you jar it or jostle it, it can blow up. Sometimes it'll blow up for no reason at all.
At all, yes. That's why they keep that.
Do with that, Bob.
Yeah, how did your kitchen fare? Did you actually give this a shot, or?
Well, my son and I decided after reading that chapter that we did not want to make nitroglycerin in the kitchen. Yeah, we're not Cody's lab. Cody can do that on his YouTube channel, but we decided not to do it on ours.
Have you seen that?
This is similar.
Have you
Are
seen the
there dangerous things that people download that we must stop them from downloading? You know, this digital rights thing, the YouTube scraper. Oh no, we can't let people download that source code because, oh heavens, they might abuse it. We're going to have to stop them. It's the same argument from the people who wanted to ban the anarchists' cookbook.
You're exactly right. And what's interesting to me is that all these people are coming out of the woodwork who are not using illegally, who are like, dude, what do I do now that you're taking this stuff away from me, right?
Well, I mean, they're cleverer than GitHub and YouTube are. So, you know, that code will manage to get around. You know, we're programmers. You start to build a software system that thwarts us. Guess what we're going to do?
I've got this app called Keybase, and Keybase actually lets you encrypt your Git file, so you can have a GitHub repo that nobody can read except for unless they've got the key.
Okay, good idea.
Yeah, might be something to look at. So this was a big kerfuffle. I was kind of pissed me off as well since I have a bad internet connection. For example, here's something I did a year or two ago. I bought a shotgun, and not for YouTube, but I bought a shotgun because I just wanted to blow things up in the yard. And I didn't know how to clean it. So I went to YouTube, and sure enough, there's these videos like how to take your shotgun apart, how to blah, blah, blah. I downloaded them using YouTube DL. I didn't watch them. And like the very next week, YouTube removes all the frickin' shotgun videos because cleaning a shotgun may lead to using a shotgun or talking about shotguns or, you know, doing shotguns a pot with your friend. I don't know, but they're gone. And if I hadn't used YouTube DL, I still wouldn't know how to clean it.
I'm pretty sure I'm not going to shoot my shotgun if I don't know how to clean it.
Yeah. You know, I didn't want to buy.
How do you put the bullets in? Bullets.
Oh, I'm so happy that our digital overlords are caring for us with such beneficial regulations.
Yes.
Oh, I feel so much more secure now.
Yeah,
these guys are sowing the seeds of their own defeat because, again, you know, we're all programmers. You know, and they misbehave too much. We're just going to code around them.
Yeah.
And that's it's already begun with all the alternative social network stuff. The more they push on this, the more people are going to go over there.
And just to rant one more thing on. Go ahead.
You must have a clone of that YouTube DL, right?
Well, yeah, you download the whole thing, sure, yeah. And I got the repo as soon as I heard it. It was a problem, yeah.
All right, now we know where to get it, Bob.
Woohoo,
sure.
Yeah. I'll hook you. Yeah, I'll hook you up a little bit. You know, we'll have a little talk offline. No, okay, all right.
This is the way to rip off those.
I got to turn off my Alexa.
We could get those clean coder videos this way.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Who have gotten them that way. Yeah. Oh yes. That happens. And you know, books. I'm sure, James, you have had people download your book.
Yes.
Oh, you can get it free everywhere. It's like, please don't though. Okay.
Yeah. Please don't. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I don't. It's interesting that whatever you run that's popular, it seems like there's some people out there that are just going to find it one way or another and try to make a buck off of it, I guess.
Sure. You life in the big city, and then you try and get the good guys to chase them down, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I think what I'm learning, and this is more of a business thing, but I'm learning that creating content is really more about the community than it is anything else. And so you're trying to build up a bunch of people that can bullshit one another, just not you bullshitting people at a time. It's just a mutual kind of bullshitting thing going on. It's not a one-to-many. It's more of a point-to-point thing.
Oh, I'm going to relate this to an entity relationship diagram. Excellent.
Oh my God. Yeah, we have to put the cardinality. It's not really, a relation unless you have cardinality. It's just not right.
Are you conformant to Dodd's normal forms here?
Oh God. I had a question like, what were the 5 normal forms once, and I had just told the people how I was a project database and DBA, and hey, what are the 5 normal forms? I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like.
No, first, second, third, fourth, fifth.
And that third one's really
There's
tough.
a
Oh
3A
yeah.
too. I thought there was like a variant of 3.
Let's see. The key, the whole key. And
Yes, the key.
the key.
Okay, I also read, this is like totally pointless trivia, that there were actually 10 normal forms at one point. There's no shit. But the other ones were so theoretical that they're never used in computer science. So.
Well, Daniel, you know what I say to that? Everybody's normal till you get to know them.
What are the 5 abnormal forms is what I want to know. First you talk to yourself is like the first one, and then... All right, so next up is, oh yeah, this was kind of, I thought this was like a humbling thing. Somebody shared this, this guy on Twitter, and I have no idea who he is, but he's like, indicator of success, don't be so damn stuck up. I thought that was nice,
I love this, Daniel. I don't know who this guy is. He just put it on Twitter, and I thought, why don't we talk about
Fucking A, yeah. We got time, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you think? This guy wrote something on Twitter. Whoa.
Yeah. Hey,
What did he
there are
write?
there are a lot
read
of
it.
people writing things on Twitter, Bob. I don't know if
There
you know
are.
that or not, but
I
oh yes.
are. Those that Twitter allows.
I counted 7 just this morning, so I know there's quite a few.
Vastly underrated predictor of success. I can't read today. I've lost it. I just can't read. Willingness to be low status.
Yeah. So
Okay.
or be
Okay,
kind
sure.
be kind to the overlords. The overlords will be kind to you.
Low status. So, it's an interesting point, right? How many people become wildly successful because they focused on something that nobody else wanted to focus on? And for decades, they were low status. And then they climbed the mountain very rapidly because they were so far ahead of their time that people didn't pay any attention to them until suddenly they did. Now, who can you name that's like that?
I know a lot of people works in shops that are. Is this a trick question? I know a lot of people who stay low status are still become the go-to person at every shop. Like, hey, go ask Joe. He knows everything. And you go talk to Joe, and he's like a very humble person that knows a lot of shit, right?
Yeah. Although you might not consider him to be wildly successful. You might. Depends on your definition of success. But it seems to me that this tweeter here is talking about people who make vast fortunes.
Yeah. I think.
Is Edison in this category? Did Edison focus on things that nobody else was interested in?
Yeah. See. Yeah. There's a public-private persona question we're kind of getting at here, right? So privately, you should not be a dick. So you should get along with people and find out kind of what they want and help them out and be like a regular person. Publicly, at some point, Edison becomes Edison, right? At some point, you become this image of yourself, and you have to kind of maintain that image, right? I mean, I didn't get to be this big, hunk of burning love just overnight here. It took a lot of work. Hey, it was.
Yeah, look at that. It's working.
Keep working at it. Keep working at it, kid.
My mind is still reeling from this concept. Wait.
Hey, James is still cleaning his shotgun over here. Okay, I don't even know what that means. I'm still working through that. Okay.
Have you seen the video of the guy who fired his shotgun and it didn't go off? And then he starts to look down the barrel.
No.
And it blows his hat off.
Oh shit! Whoa!
Was that real?
Go find that one. That's hysterical. It's also, really scary.
Darwin Award.
Yeah.
He's looking down the barrel.
Well, I remember some of these Darwin Awards from when that was popular about 20 years ago, and one of the Darwin Awards was man attacks wife with shotgun, although he's using it like a bludgeon, holding the wrong end. And he's smashing through a window, and it goes off and
kills him. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So he had it.
They have one
He
left.
had it cocked, loaded and cocked.
Yeah.
And then
In case he needed to use it, of course. Yes.
Darwin Award.
So I got to tell you this story. There's this Darwin honorable mission thing, and it was these redneck guys who happened to be drinking beer one day. Who knew? And they decided to clean out a culvert. There were some raccoons in the culvert, and somebody had to get these raccoons out. And so some dumb guy said, "I will get the raccoons out of the culvert." And so he climbs in and hold my beer, and he can't get to the raccoon. This is a true story. So he gets back out. And he says, "Anybody got any gasoline?" And so he goes.
This is going to go well.
He goes to the culvert. He, I guess, at some point, sets fire to the raccoons, and it launches them like a rocket over the trailer, like into the woods on the other side. He lives through the whole thing. I don't know what this guy. He's probably in Congress today. I don't know, but I was like,
Yes, I was going to say.
yeah, wow, whoa.
So you think about somebody like Elon Musk, right? Did Elon Musk focus on low status things? You know, is that how Elon Musk has built, PayPal and then Tesla and then SpaceX and everything Elon Musk has done? Did he decide that he was going to focus on really low status things, or did he say, "I'm going to turn the world upside down"?
I think he said the latter, Bob.
I think he did. Yeah.
But you're also conflating the problem he's solving with the personality he has, right? So this guy's talking about whether or not hard work is the sole factor in success, and he's saying that, hey, you should be a nice person. Be a nice person, Bob.
Well,
Look inside yourself.
I'm fine
Is that
being
what you're saying? Is to be a nice person?
Yeah,
I missed that.
Okay, so Elon, by the way, when he started SpaceX, everybody thought he was completely insane.
Sure.
So it did look silly, and it may not look insignificant, but it looked as if a thing that a millionaire would do who had no sense.
It looked like something that should fail. I don't think anyone would have thought that it was silly or insignificant in that sense, or that it was low status. It's just that there weren't a lot of people who were willing to bet on it right away.
It's interesting.
Okay, he made the bet.
Yeah, he did. And the thing is, I think what we don't realize in a lot of these cases is that we see success as being sort of a hero story. This guy does his thing, and he rides the horse, and he beats the villains or whatever. And a lot of that happens to be teamwork where some schmuck has to be the guy that's the image for the organization. And in Elon's case, to get where he wasn't building rockets and electric cars. He was hiring really smart people that he worked as a team that just understood that he was the point guy, right?
And the guy taking the risk. Yeah.
Guy taking the risk, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next one.
With a vision.
Okay.
With a vision.
Yeah, he had something in mind.
Well, he's had a lot of things in mind.
Oh, they laughed at Galileo. They laughed at Columbus. They laughed at Bozo the Clown. They laughed at the Marx Brothers.
They didn't laugh at Bozo.
Poor Bozo, Bob Bell. What a great guy.
Wow. Did you?
Too many years.
Did you know Bozo? There's like a.
Bozo was a Chicago clown, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, it started in Chicago. At least the one I know, Bob Bell.
Yeah.
Bob Bell and Ringmaster Ned and Ray Rayner and all those early morning.
Yeah.
Kid Funny.
Clutch Cargo with the lips.
Clutch Cargo.
Yeah.
Follow the bouncing ball. La, 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 la.
Well, they had the craziest animation with Clutch Cargo, which was basically the whole canvas was flat, and then they had human lips inside of the canvas. With the human lips.
And and it worked.
Yep.
If you were 8, it worked.
If you were 8, yes.
It worked great.
It was
Like,
great.
you could sneak a few of those in before going to school, catching the school bus. That was living.
I don't know those Chicago clowns. We don't. Back where I grew up, we didn't deal with the big city clowns. We had our own private clowns we dealt with in the area, and local neighborhood. We did neighborhood clowns.
Scary neighborhood clowns.
Locally sourced, yes.
We had some neighborhood clowns in our neighborhood.
You may have been one of them, Bob.
I think we might, yeah. It had something to do with crawl spaces.
All right, so this next one here is Yet another of the ever-ending stream of technical debt essays that sort of come out once a week or two. Turns out that technical debt will ruin your software. I had no idea that was the case. But shocked I am.
Thank you, once again. And the canonical image.
Yeah.
Now, has the Leaning Tower of Pisa gotten a lot more stable? Or is it
According
still...
to the article, they stabilized it in '08.
All right. Yeah, I didn't read the article. Sorry, Daniel.
I don't know, how well they stabilized it, because, I think the original architects thought it was stable too for a while.
Yes.
What's with all these cats in here, though?
I don't know. This guy, he loves his cats. Yeah. How can you not talk about it? This is like the Twitter thing. If anything that has a bunch of cats in, we're forced to talk about this. I don't see we have a choice.
I'm allergic to cats. I'm just saying.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Next time we do this, it'll just be puppies. We'll just get with puppies. So yeah, this is.
Is there some allusion to throwing cats off the Leaning Tower here? Is that where he's going with this?
Well, yeah, it's the cat and buttered toast thing where you glue the buttered toast to the cat and you toss him off and he spins forever.
The perpetual motion machine.
Yeah, because the cat always lands on his feet and the buttered toast always lands on the butter, so you just glue one to the other and just got propellers.
So Daniel, considering we're just like doing a surface strafing of this article, were there some good nuggets in here somewhere?
I thought, well, the thing I saw was that as they started to fix the Leaning Tower, they actually made it worse, which was a good observation.
Oh. Does that mean don't fix the bad code?
There's this whole discussion about cleaning up. Let's just say cleaning up, because I don't know how else to talk about it. You leave a mess in the code, and it need to be fixed. I don't leave a mess in the code, so I mean, really, unless, yeah. So what do? You call it technical debt, I guess.
Yeah.
So I've read it
in
the last two.
Tower, though.
What'd you get out of it, James? I kind of. This was 2 weeks ago.
I'm sorry, I
didn't read it.
You said
I'm here for the cats. I'm here for the cats, man. It's got technical debt, cats. What else do we need? No, the reason I brought this up was because it's a long string of stuff. I read one essay was like, don't use technical debt anymore because everything's technical debt. Then I read another essay, it's like nothing's technical debt, and I was just using this as sort of a trampoline to talk about how, is technical debt always bad? It seems as if there's no shortage of essayists willing to sort of thrash around online around topics. And it's like watching a blind pig in the backyard. At some point, that little blind pig is going to find that acorn, but you don't know how hard he's going to keep wandering around until he gets one. And it can be entertaining or sad.
Do pigs eat acorns?
The blind pigs still.
Blind pigs do. Okay, fine. Good. Okay. So technical debt was a term. I believe it was coined by Ward Cunningham. I think it was Ward who tried to make this analogy, and his basic idea was that people can rationally take out debt. You take out debt if you're going to buy a house, you take out debt if you're going to buy a car, but you have to be rational about it. You have to know that you can pay it back. You have to commit to a plan to pay it back, and the debt is for the purpose of some greater gain. And I think that's a reasonable metaphor. Now, a lot of other people have come along and said, no, technical debt is just bad code. No, I don't think so. Bad code is just bad code. It's just people stupid and sloppy. That's not technical debt. Technical debt is when you make a conscious decision to do something that is suboptimal in the short term so that you can do something super optimal in the long term. Now, I have my own problems even with that kind of decision, but at least there's some thought behind it.
Okay, so what should we call the thing that would be this accidental technical debt, which is everywhere in code bases around the world? People get the app to work, pass the aptitude test, APP-tude test. You get the app to work, and they leave behind this stuff, which is, are they being sued by their old mistakes? So like, Alimony? Yeah, I have my
Code
my
alimony.
For the credit card.
credit card. So it's like just charging your credit card without thinking about it, right?
Yeah,
If
teenagers
money
with
is
a credit
free.
card. Free money.
Okay. So,
Was it
but that is debt. But that's like what?
But that's
Is it-
not reasonable debt. That's the
Okay.
sucker bet. That's what the credit card companies
All right.
want you to do. Oh, please borrow from our card. We'll only charge you 22% interest.
Maybe a
This is-
balance transfer technical debt or something. We could pay off this card with the other
It's a
card.
technical loan or technical,
Do
I don't know,
that.
loan shark.
Yeah,
But
loan
there's also
shark.
yeah,
That's a
there's
good
also the
loan shark.
the XP guys have the code smell thing they use, which is kind of generic. Hey, this code really smells like possums in here. Oh, that's
I've never. What is the possums smell there, Dan? You live in the mountains of Virginia. So,
well, I've got some in the culvert back here. Later on, I'm going to climb in and see.
I
how they do.
had an opossum for a pet. You've talked about two of my childhood pets. I had raccoons and I had a possum, also a donkey and a collie. But
How do you have a possum for a pet?
well, it crawled into the garage. I kept it for a while and fed it.
In the garage? In the garage?
Yeah, I think I had it might have been after the raccoons moved out, and it came-
We're out of here, bud.
Yeah, I wonder if the possums chased the raccoons. Possums are mean.
Well, the possums look mean. That they just kind of play dead a lot, but yeah. So the possum I don't think I had for very long. The raccoons I had for several years. In the donkey, well, a donkey lives for 20 years, so we had
A
the
donkey-
donkey.
You still have the donkey?
No,
Yeah.
she would be 66.
What the heck? Wow.
That's old for a donkey.
That's
Yeah.
donkey
Well,
years.
that's like
That's still
Three
66.
three
I think.
times their lifespan.
Yeah, that's old
Oh.
for a donkey.
Yeah. You don't see a lot of 66-year-old donkeys around here.
Rest in peace, Frisco.
I think. All right, so next one. Oh yeah, so this is one I freely admit I read halfway through and I'm like, okay, it's not a pyramid. I thought this was funny because every coach I've ever been around, when you talk about testing, starts drawing that damn pyramid again. And I at one point I thought maybe they had something. Yeah, I thought they had something like a kickback scheme with the Egypt people or something. I didn't know how this was working out. But this guy said, "Hey, it's a crab," and I thinking, okay, maybe it could be a crab. I don't know.
So his point, I just hate it. Right? Everything should be end-to-end acceptance level tests. Everything should be done at the system test level. We don't need unit tests. Well, maybe a few. Yeah, we could have a few, but we don't need very many of them. What we really want is the pizza slice.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, the pizza diagram. Yeah.
Yeah, scroll down to the pizza diagram. That's his final conclusion. We want most of the tests to be end-to-end system tests, and the minimum number of tests will be unit tests. I think he's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
well, I'd say it's backwards. It's kind of a simple numbers game, and if you had 3 components of complexity 10 each, and you tested them together, how many tests do you need? You need 1,000. Yeah, 10 times 10. But if you had unit tests, you need 30, and then you need some to make sure you hook stuff together right.
I don't know. I'm glad we're getting rid of the pyramid, and I agree with you. This pizza has no pepperoni on it, or those little chilies you put on there. So there's just no way I'm going with the pizza slice thing.
I would eat that pizza right now if I had that. That looks pretty good.
I don't know.
I
Yeah, I don't
have
know.
some sausage and pepperoni on it too, or peppers, but
There's mushrooms.
What's that Chicago? There's like chorizo or something you guys put on the pizzas up here.
Oh, that's Mexican sausage, chorizo. Ooh, spicy. And I don't put it on my pizza, but I will put it in a tortilla.
Yeah, I've given up the pyramid as a concept. I'm really going toward more platonic solids now. I think I would go more like a dodecahedron thing.
Okay.
I'm thinking
Will
of,
not mention the dodecahedron. That's weird.
yeah, you do something with 20 sides. That's a lot. That's pretty complex. You could probably have a whole certification course based around that.
yeah, you could write a whole series of books and a certification course. Retire early, Danny.
My master dodeca. I know Bob's getting some D&D done.
Nobody is going to touch my platonic solids, man.
I knew this. I knew.
What is that? Marbles?
So the rule
Are
with
you
Bob
losing your-
is, if you bring up
losing your
something
marbles,
nerdy
Bob?
enough, he reaches around, he pulls a copy of whatever you're talking about out of it.
Got my dice.
Okay, so that's the
I
pizza.
happen to have a life-size coronavirus here.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I'm not worthy.
I got to bring more props next time. Ah. All right, so next is the speed guys. This was
And
cool because
yes, you'll need more props if you want to measure up.
what did Dad say? Don't make me stop this internet, kids. Okay, I'll stop this internet right now. We'll do something. I don't know. Yeah, so this thing, the guys claimed they went 316 miles an hour. The nerds listened to the audio, and from the audio did a reverse engineering on what the RPMs were. Then they looked at the gearbox ratios and said, no, you were not driving that fast. And I thought, whoa, that's pretty cool. It's not as cool as the coronavirus, but it's pretty cool. Huh?
I just love it. I just love it. You know, you put anything on the internet, and there's going to be people who will find any possible flaw. Watch out.
Yeah.
Make sure that if you produce a photocopy from the 1960s, make sure it does not have a, Microsoft Word font.
Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, they've got these AI deep fakes now that they can take your head and put it on, various porn videos and such. This is like my teenage dream coming true. It's like every porn video I wanted to be in when I was 16. Now's my shot.
I love this part of the article where he talks about the helicopter that's following the car. And the helicopter's keeping up with the car. And then the YouTubers look up the specs on the helicopter and realize that if the helicopter were going that fast, it would have torn the helicopter to shreds.
And there's still a court case about, was it Donkey Kong guy or was it Pac-Man? One of those old video games, that guy claimed to beat it in like 20 seconds or something. And he had a video of him playing the game. And there was this big argument of whether he cheated or not. And it's a court case now.
Well, that's certainly a worthy court case.
That was the beauty of pool and other games over like video games, because you could argue about pool. It was more fun.
You're speaking
kind of arguments?
in the past tense.
I went to this party once. It was full of technical coaches like myself, and they had a pool table. And somebody wanted to play some game. James would know what it. I don't remember. And so we all started playing as two teams. And it was about 5 minutes in where finally one person said, "Hey, does anybody know the rules to this game?" And nobody in the entire room knew what the rules were. So we just kept playing. It's like, okay, fine.
I know him. Now, Daniel, if I'm remembering correctly, you were playing pool with your wrong hand when you were at my house.
Oh my God.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. James was kind enough to give me some tips because I suck, and I'm shooting, and he goes, "Hey, I didn't know you were left-handed." And I'm like, "Neither did I." He's like, "Well, you're shooting with your left hand." I'm like, "I am." At least I didn't get the pool stick backwards and start beating on the ball like the shotgun guy, right?
Oh, you got better though after that.
I did. I need my own pool table to practice. I haven't played when's the last time you played, James?
Well, I just left Illinois, so the pool room is in Illinois.
Okay.
There is a pool table in our community down here, but I'm not allowed to go in there because I might make people sick.
You play that well? You must really suck at pool. Damn. Get the hell out of here, that stupid pool thing you're doing.
They won't let anybody use it. But yeah, so it's been a few weeks. I haven't played against an actual human, for a long time now. So
I'm a bit confused. You're playing robots or like an electronic pool, or
no? I'll just go down and shoot by myself because it's fun to play.
Okay, sure.
It's called practice.
Yeah.
Because when I got back down here, and when they do open this thing up, I want to rule the table. But I know that'll be a tall order. But I'm going to be as good as I can be.
I was quite impressed. I think you told me that you grew up around pool quite a bit, so you've had a lot of practice.
Well, we used to keep a mattress on the pool table, so I really slept with pool. Yeah.
Let's not. We don't need to go any further than that. It's good. It's 2020. We're all grown men here. We don't
Yeah,
need
no,
to.
it's okay. No,
No,
don't take
what
that
you,
the wrong way, Daniel.
yeah, what you did with your pool balls is it's all yours. Okay. All right. So next up is this microservices article. I yeah. Well, I don't know where to go with this thing. This wasn't bad. I just think he kind of. I don't think he understood what the hell microservices were. And so he got in this big kind of linkages discussion, which people do who don't understand it. And then he kind of devolved from there into sort of feel good kind of architecture stuff of us. So
I skimmed this article, and I agreed with everything I read about it. I thought this guy's nailed this. And I love his, where is it? Where's the quote in here? Microservices are used by people who don't want to know what their architecture is, or something like that. It was very good. Maybe that was point 3 down there, but it was a great line. You know, microservices are not an architecture; they're a deployment mechanism. They're not the architecture. He makes the point in here, you know, that if you want to decouple things, there are better ways of decoupling things than to break them up into a bunch of services that squirt text over a socket.
So, on a bit of a serious note, I was a little bit uncomfortable about doing this 3-thing call. And I first of all, was the technology involved, and there's sort of personality dynamics. I didn't know. We always have fun. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, I probably disagree with Bob and James on a bunch of stuff. And they're going to team up on me, like beat me up and take my lunch money again. And it'll make me really sad. So, no, Bob, you're wrong again. But that's fine. I'm unarmed. Gee, where's my shotgun? I have nothing. So let's just move on. If for those interested, in my opinion, it's here. Oh my God! Yeah, it's a nerd holdup. Give me all your function pointers.
All the flies are running away.
What this is.
Look, he's got cash.
Assault shotgun that is for shooting flies.
Yep. It's called the Bug Assault.
Bug Assault.
I read where a grad student made a device that took her tears and turned them into projectiles in a gun she could shoot at people. It's like your own Marvel hero. She's become her own. It's like, wow, you cry and then you can shoot little things. That look pretty cool.
That's an interesting.
Daniel, what did Bob say that you disagree with?
Yeah.
So strongly there.
Okay, so I'm going to try to find a spot of agreement. Okay, so I think that it is correct that microservices are done by people who don't do architecture, and it is corrected by being done that way, you end up with a freaking mess that you really have to sort of reason about with something besides the compiler, which is kind of stupid. So yeah, I can make Bob's argument for him. I will not because he's wrong. Actually, so I'm not going to do it. You don't have to write microservices.
Word text files back and forth. Then
I believe in composable functions, my friend. Composable functions are the future. I think that if you have an object-oriented background, you're just going to see microservices as some other version of a service-oriented architecture. And once you head down that path, it's a total clusterfuck after that. And I can't help you. You're too far in the woods for me to pull you back out. I agree with what Bob said.
So I'm not a microservices guy because I work on the inside of like embedded systems. So is it just another way to separate things, separate ideas?
Okay. So
that part sounded good, but then the squirting text files back and forth sounds kind of.
So if you associate your business behavior with an encapsulated deployable microservice that can be composable, then you have a one-to-one correspondence such that you can reason about what the business does by looking at the microservice. All right. That works if you have a composable function that you've created a composable application out of, which you can. However, if you cross the line from business functionality to system functionality, then what you end up with is a bunch of microservices that all kind of do a little bit of the same thing that are highly coupled with one another, and it becomes a total freaking mess after that. And so I understand how it's screwed up by folks. I'm simply saying that you don't have to go there if you don't want to.
So I will agree with you that if you have a set of composable business functions, it's nice to decouple them. The question is, do you have to decouple them with sockets?
No.
Or can you decouple them with regular old interfaces and, good solid dependency inversion? Or do you have to use sockets? And the problem that people have is that they believe that the serviceness is the decoupler. And of course it's not, never has been.
Yes.
You use services if you need scaling, or you need failover, or you need any of those things that multiple processors can give you. But if all you're after is decoupling of composable functions, we've had that for a very long time without going down the services route. And why would you then make thousands of little tiny services on multiple machines that must talk to each other over a very slow serial 1 bit at a time link?
See, now, so we're moving a microservice, in my opinion, once you start coupling that to a service bus or HTTP or a socket or any of that stuff, you no longer have a microservice. You have something that plugs in to the system in such a way that it's going to always be coupled that way, and you can't have any leakage. The thing is, if you're going to make a composable function, you have to make a standalone composable function that has no leakage to the outside world, and people have a hard time doing that.
So is the making it of a quote-unquote microservice mean that it needs this layer on it, Bob, that's dealing with the socket and everything? But I think, Daniel, you're saying, I want to care about the thing that's inside of that mechanism, because the thing inside is where my logic is, where my processing is, where my composable function is.
I write code that are composable functions, that joins into an app that's also composable, and if you do that, then whether you can put that in one service or you put that in a monolith, that doesn't matter anymore. It's all just mix and match. The whole idea that you need to put it in some sort of size and it needs to be HTTP, that's fucked up. That shows that you got your mind in the wrong spot to begin with. Microservices aren't microservices because they're small. They're microservices because they do a useful thing that's composable with other services. So you should never end up with hundreds of different kinds of microservices unless, I don't know, you're writing some application like run the IRS or something. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, even then, you probably don't want hundreds of them talking through sockets.
Oh, my God.
Nothing wrong with the hundreds of components talking normally.
Well, hey, I would just let me be the moderate. I'll try to bring peace here. You guys are both saying decomposing stuff into independent things is a good idea. And it seems, I think, Bob, you got this idea that when you throw the word microservices at it, you all of a sudden mean sockets and JSON or whatever it is. And Daniel, I think you're objecting to that. You're saying, well, that's not what the microservice is. Is that?
Yeah, I think Bob and I actually agree, I think, more than we disagree. It's the problem is not the buzzword or how you're deploying. The problem is that you think you're coding and deploying in one paradigm, but you're bringing a shitload of baggage with you from another paradigm, and just pick one or the other. Don't pick a little bit. It's not a pick and choose kind of deal. If you're going to have linkages and semantic leak from one hunk of code to another, go ahead and put the code together. You don't want to have the same shit all over the place because it's just a mess, right?
Yeah, well, if I wanted to put it in a DLL, I suppose I could do that, right?
Yes.
Are microservices any different than what Microsoft was trying to do with DLLs? It's just a pluggable thing. Except
Well,
it happens to be
depends on the definition that's out there, but the primary definition of microservices at the moment is that they are little tiny services that run on independent machines that are connected over the network by sockets. And this allows independent teams to control their entire maintenance and build environment and their independent deployment environment.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
my microservice will be deployed by my team no matter what anybody else does in this system. And that ends up being wildly unworkable.
I agree with Bob's call on this. I had a tech team a year or two ago that wanted to do microservices. I walked in the shop and they had already loaded up with a bunch of coupling shit that they put together, and I'm like, you're not doing, you just can't stick the word on top of the code and like, okay, we're doing this.
Yes, you can. We've been doing that for decades, Daniel.
Well, yeah, you can. Yes, unfortunately, you can. Yeah.
In front of it, that'll make it right.
I'm actually a rocket
coach.
Huh?
Yes. Okay, you could put the word agile in front of everything now, and
oh my God.
Well, we already did that.
Yeah.
Agile. Sorry.
The word coach on the end, right? The word coach on the end. It's agile on the front. whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we probably have to add some adjective on the front there, so like something like, I don't know.
Oh,
Rugged.
Agile software.
I don't use the A word anymore. I just ixnay on the Agile K. I'm not doing that. No more.
Oh, I'll still use that word. I don't use the S word.
Shit.
Well, I will blurt that out from time to time.
You're saying the SCRUM word.
Well, I could probably actually say the whole word scrum, but the S word is sprint.
Okay.
You've watched the Olympics, right?
Yes.
You know what happens to the sprinters. Just saying. Wrong
They
metaphor.
do drugs. Yeah.
Wrong metaphor.
So here we moving on. Yes, here we have the Raspberry Pi 400. This is like the superest cool piece of nerd gear I have seen in like a month or so. This
pretty cool. All you need is a high def TV, right?
Yeah, it's a whole Pi inside a keyboard. So you just plug it up, and you've got a computer you can carry around with you and do like cool robotic stuff with, and it's $70.
It's great.
Yeah.
Every time I buy another Raspberry Pi, a couple of months later, and then don't use it, a couple of months later, a better one comes out.
I've got 6 already. Yeah. I know this feeling.
I think I have one, and it's right there. It's in that PDP-8 emulator right there. It's just sitting there running Adventure.
I've got 2 mounted screens with Pis behind them, running them, touch screens, and I've got a Pi hole back that does my DNS lookup, gets rid of ads, and I've got a couple I haven't mounted yet. So yeah, it's fun stuff. It's kind of like
Cyber Dojo on a Raspberry Pi.
Whoa!
Tried and failed, or tried and it worked?
Well, yeah. It turns out all the packages I was loading were for x86, and I didn't. So Cyber Dojo was never connected to the generic Docker stuff. It was like, well, at least at the time when I tried to do it, it took all day, and then didn't work.
Isn't it frustrating that it takes all day to get software to work in something that is smaller than your thumbnail?
Well, it had a lot of memory to fill up there with stuff, and
this is bringing back a lot of pain for me, guys. It's not a happy memory, Yeah.
But we like Raspberry Pis. They're nice. They're fun.
They're great. Hey, did you know that the Cyber Dojo organization, all the donations you might make to cyberdojo.org, go to Raspberry Pis for people that need computers to grow up with.
I did not know this.
Disadvantaged kids.
That's great.
I did not know. Did John Jagger set that up?
Yep. John Jagger.
John.
Yep, John Jagger, Kevlin Henney, Mike Long, and I think Seb Rose is part of it too. So those guys started the Cyber Dojo Foundation, and so I give regular donations to them because I use it in my stuff, and so they go for a good cause.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So look up Cyber Dojo. Wow. You've been using that for close to a decade now, haven't you, James?
Pretty close. I ran into it at a client's, and it's like my jaw dropped. It's like, oh, I could make my life a lot easier if I started using this thing. And so Cyber Dojo has really been very important to me being able to relax more.
You ran into it at a client's?
Yeah. Yeah, so Mike Long, he used to, Mike Long?
I know the name. I'm sure
okay, so he's he describes himself as a Scots-Australian living in Oslo. So, yeah. So Mike was doing he worked for Schlumberger at the time, and I was at one of their internal conferences, and he was doing a coding dojo, and he had Cyber Dojo, and it's like, what's that? And I think, Bob, you know that the genesis of Cyber Dojo, Daniel, I'm sorry we're not on your
No, please keep going. This is cool. Yeah.
The genesis of Cyber Dojo was a coding dojo that you were part of, Bob.
Yes, I remember. With John and the fella from, well, now it's Cisco, but it was at the time the teleconferencing software.
Yeah. But so
WebEx?
You were doing a coding dojo, and by the time all the time for the meetup ended, finally people had their computers set up.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
Oh, man.
this was the story of my life.
Yeah, more pain, more pain. Yes, pain. Yes.
With clients, I would go there because working in C and C++ and embedded systems, everybody has different tools, so we had to get into a common tool environment. And when I saw that just running, it's like, you mean you can just start writing a test right now? It's like, yeah, right now, within the next 2 seconds if you want. It's like, I should look at that. And it's totally changed how I run my training course. And I can see every move that programmers make when they're doing it. So you guys have been to it. You guys know what it's about. So
yeah, I audited your class, I think, a year ago. It's pretty cool stuff. So last one, guys. You guys on board with this WordPerfect for DOS upgrade?
Having never used WordPerfect and having not used DOS much,
No.
I'm not sure what this is.
So back in the day, after the dinosaurs left and the flood receded, Noah got off the ark and he said, "Hey, I need to write some letters. I got nothing to write letters with." So he created WordPerfect, and life was good. It was better than Vim and Emacs, and people who didn't know those text editors got to do the little WordPerfect stuff, and they got quite good at it. There was a lot of hotkeys. They used the function keys. I used it.
Was it the first WYSIWYG?
It was when it moved to Windows. It moved to Windows 3.0, and it became but it's actually ran in DOS. You could do mail merges. You could do one of the big features it had was show codes, and so it would show you the formatting codes inside the text, and that turned out to be like really helpful for folks trying to do formatting. So anyway, they're still sticking with that, and this would probably run on a Raspberry Pi. So
Because the Raspberry Pi can emulate DOS.
Yes, it can emulate DOS, and plus text-based stuff is
40K.
You run into problems with the Pi when you start pushing a lot of bits over the graphics channel because that just doesn't have the oomph for that. If you're doing text, Linux stuff, it usually works pretty well.
You can't run Ubuntu on a Raspberry Pi?
I tried. It took all day, and then it finally came up, and I'm like, "Hey, I got Ubuntu," and I went to the mouse. And that was like 10 minutes. Oh no, it was like I said, pain. Oh jeez, it worked. Yes, it worked. It does. Yeah. You can.
Okay.
With enough sort of tranquilizers, you can. Oh. So guys, I want
to be
writing
code.
Yeah. The one thing you don't want to do is take any sort of central nervous system depressant and go at the code. Not going to work. Feels pretty good, but no, it's not going to work. Okay, guys, I'll do a wrap up, and then I'll close the recording. Come right back. Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. All right. So thanks to Bob and James today. Sorry we got nothing useful accomplished, but it was. Heck of hootin' fun, what it was supposed to be. So I loved it. It was good stuff. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. I am Daniel Markham, and I will see you on the internet.